Last time on Square Roots, Squall and Rinoa make a promise. We find the White Seed ship, and Squall takes a long walk along the train tracks to discover the mysterious city of Estar. Meanwhile, Laguna stars in an adult movie. You know, a movie for adults. You know.
Hello and welcome to Square Roots. No, that can't be how the show starts. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Square Roots.
We can do it a cappella
classic
style.
RPG podcast.
Hello.
Square Roots. Hello, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Matthew Van Zant, and I'm joined by my best friends in the whole world, and my only two best friends in the whole world, Johnny Brandon.
Hi.
And Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa.
Jim is not here because his arm hurts because he might get run over or he might have gotten a shot. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Penicillin. He's got a lot of problems, you know?
Jim did want us to specify that he got shot right in the cactuar, and the lady who gave him the shot thought the cactuar was fun and asked why it's running, and Jim said that's just what it does.
Do you think she was like, oh, that's fun?
Yeah, she's probably like, I give like these vaccines every day, and now at least there's something, but you know, meh.
Hey, what do we do on this show? We play your favorite RPGs one chunker at a time, like Final Fantasy VIII.
This is my favorite chunker. I'm going to say it right now. I don't care. It's not the end of the show. This is the best chunker of any game we've ever played on the show.
Wow, hot take.
Why?
Because it's amazing.
Okay.
I mean, it does have like a space love scene. Did they
Like
fucking zero
Moonraker.
G, though? Did they?
Probably.
Y'all remember the end of the James Bond movie Moonraker when James Bond and Dr. Moon Lady are in the space capsule and it's falling down to Earth and they're on camera talking to NASA, and then they start, moving around and whatnot, and then someone's like, what's he doing? And then another person goes, I believe he's attempting re-entry, sir.
Oh,
Pretty great.
he's unprofessional.
That was James Bond. That James Bond, he's incorrigible.
Incorrigible. And I can't remember. No, that's not. It's The Spy Who Loved Me, who also ends on a one-liner, and then this music kicks in that goes nobody does it better. Makes me feel sad for the rest.
What's going on here? You know, before she takes this too far, what do you say we move into our first segment of the show where we talk about how we leveled up?
Matt,
Sure.
did you talk about what we do on this show?
We play your favorite first-person shooters one mission at a time.
My favorite first-person shooter is Fallout.
Ooh.
We play your favorite point-and-click adventures one chapter at a time.
My favorite point-and-click adventure is Minesweeper.
Oh. You know, I
This
didn't
week
think
we'll
that
be
would have been your
covering-
favorite.
This week we'll be covering Riven, the sequel to Myst.
Riven. Remember that guy? And he's like, it's me, Mr. Bad Guy. Yeah.
Those games are fun. I always wanted to go back and play the several. There's like 5 more sequels, but I just never got around to it. So that's what we're going to do now. No longer are we Square Roots. We are Sierra Roots. No, John is shaking his head.
Well, not if
John.
we're playing Riven. I don't want to play a Riven. I'm bad at those games. I'm very stupid.
I mean, for sure, the modern versions come with a built-in guide, and that is how I played them the last time I played them.
Remember when they first came out, and if you wanted like a hint from the internet, you had to close the game, turn on your modem, dial in, like let the web page load for hours, and scroll down and try to figure out the answer to your question?
Now it's got a hint, Mist at least, which I played on iOS several years ago, had a hint system that would give you a hint, and then you could ask for a second hint, and then it would be like, do you just want us to tell you the answer, dummy?
One of my favorite old point-and-click adventures, Journeyman 3 Legacy of Time,
That's
had
not a real
that
game.
system. It is a real game.
Yeah, I
and
want to play with these. They sound neat.
it had a little hint fella that went along with you, but it was voiced by a stand-up comedian, so it would sort of make fun of you, but
That's
also
fun.
be your fun pal.
Like sort of like the skull in Phantasmagoria.
Exactly, but like
But I-
sassy.
Don't know what any of this has to do with how John leveled up.
Oh, well, I did level up. I watched a new TV show to me. It's called Los Spookies. Have you heard of Los Spookies?
No, this sounds like you made it up.
Yeah, that sounds made up.
It is
And vaguely racist.
shot in Mexico. It is a Spanish language production. So no. I mean, maybe. I don't know. It is written, or created by Fred Armisen and, 2 other writers. And it is about this team of people who, solve problems by creating like haunted houses and special effects. They're like faking supernatural stuff. It's pretty neat. It is a
How many and what kind of problems can possibly be solved by doing that?
Well, there's been a couple so far. One was okay. So in I've only seen the first episode. The first episode was there was a quinceanera that was made better with lots of gory special effects because the girl the girl who's turning 15 was really gothy and morbid. And then this priest was very upset about being upstaged by this younger, better looking priest with very glossy lips. And everyone was wondering why his lips are so wet and glossy. And he was just he felt very outpaced by this newer, better priest. So he thought to get his groove back, he would fake an exorcism. So he got the people that did this quinceanera to do a fake, The Exorcist thing to upstage
Exorcism.
It's pretty great. And there's some other weirdness going on with like a TV host, who seems to be mind controlled and stuff. It's pretty fun. And it's interesting seeing apparently according to the description, it's not set in Mexico. It's set in a fictional Spanish speaking American country in North America. But it's interesting, and Fred Armisen's very fun in that. My Spanish is okay. But I still need subtitles. I wouldn't say it's okay, even it's terrible, but I generally got the gist of what's going on and I was enjoying it.
Fun.
Yeah, a fun thing. And I also found out, because I was talking about how much I like Ted Lasso to a coworker, and my coworker's like, "Oh, if you like Jason Sudeikis, you should see him in the movie Colossal." I was like, "Oh, what's that about? I haven't heard about that film." He's like, "Oh, the one where Anne Hathaway Freaky Fridays with a kaiju?"
Mm-hmm. This was like a very under the radar movie. I think when they were marketing it, they wanted it to be mysterious somehow, so they didn't really emphasize the kaiju, which I think was probably a mistake.
Right. And it's you think Anne Hathaway Freaky Fridays into a kaiju is going to be a laugh-a-minute romp. Like, a zany film, like a Isn't It Romantic? It is not that. It is not that at all. It is
What is it?
A dark look at addiction and abuse with kaiju as a metaphor, but it's kind of lighthearted at the same time. It's very good. I think Jason Sudeikis and Anne Hathaway are great in it. And it's about kind of how men suck. And Anne Hathaway having to deal with multiple jerky men in her life. And it's interesting because you think the premise seems like it's going to be a fun comedy, and it's kind of a dark look at like alcoholism and depression and emotionally abusive men.
Well, aren't we all emotionally abusive, you know?
No. I mean, I try very hard not to be.
Yeah. I think that Vanessa would enjoy this film. I think it is very good.
Maybe I would.
And it's a lot of fun in some ways. Not a lot of fun in other ways, but I'd still say good movie. Thumbs. What's our review scale for movies on this podcast?
Good, bad movie you kind of like?
Nope. That's a different podcast.
Oh. Is that not our podcast? We don't do that one too?
Nope.
No.
Am I not Dan McCoy?
Nope.
Oh.
Our podcast rating review, is it an 8-bit movie, a 16-bit movie, or a 64-bit movie?
Ooh, okay. I would give this a 64-bit movie. It's pretty good. Go see it. But not in theaters, because don't go to the theaters yet.
It came out several years ago.
And it came out several years
You're probably not a time traveler.
You're probably not a time traveler. Also,
but we don't want to rule that out entirely. We might have time traveler listeners.
I said probably.
There's some good shots of Vancouver, because it is a Vancouver shot film, although it's not take place in Vancouver. Anyway.
They always shoot movies in Vancouver, and they're like, this is not Vancouver, but Vancouver is so distinct looking. Like, Canadian skyscraper apartments all have little balconies on them, like that you just don't have in the United States. You can't fool anyone with that stuff.
Well, and also it's supposed to be New England, and New England doesn't have a lot of pine trees and like moss covering everything, and it's not all like wet and cloudy like that.
It's not?
I'm not so sure about that, because I watched all of Supernatural, and they traveled all over the country, and almost everywhere in the United States had pine trees and was mossy and cloudy all the time and had big hydrangea bushes and things like that. So I think you're wrong about that, John.
You know, I'm sorry. Actually, I did notice that the bar location, I was like, oh, I'm sure I remember that being in Supernatural. I'm pretty sure that bar location was also used in Supernatural.
I certainly cannot recognize Vancouver or tell the difference between Vancouver or any other big city. They all look the same to me.
Wow, what a country mouse.
Oh, also, you know what's leveled up and we should discuss real fast? Our podcast turned 5.
Hey!
Bada. Yeah. Hey, did it?
Yeah, this is our 5th anniversary episode.
Wow, and Jim's not even here?
And
wow.
Jim's not even here. 5 whole years.
I'm going to take a moment to harass him about this.
Let's pause the podcast where we all message Jim and tell him he sucks.
No. But wow, we've been doing this for half a decade. Does it feel like half a decade?
No. Oh, what a terrible way to put it. Oh, no. Oh.
I mean, we've been through, you've been through 3 presidents in the course of this podcast.
Well, but it was the tail end of one and the very beginning of a third, so.
Yeah.
Still, that's one sign that it's been half a decade. We went from our new PS4s to our new consoles. So
that is true.
Mm-hmm.
That was momentous.
My spooky little baby children are in middle school now. Ooh.
Oh.
They're teens almost.
It's true. Vanessa's Redacted happened.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That was a big deal.
Mm-hmm. I became a dailies colorist.
Matthew and Jim both got divorced.
Well. Yeah, 2 divorces.
2 divorces.
No marriages.
Nope, no marriages. Don't foresee any of those in the future.
I went through a breakup, but that was during the -1 season that was not released.
I could get married anytime I want to, Matt.
You probably could, but would you want to?
No, that's why I'm not married.
Oh, okay. Well, speaking of life choice. Oh, well, before we move on to Matt's level up. Do you have anything to say about anything you want to say in this auspicious moment? The
way to put us on the spot, John.
I do.
John.
The 5-year anniversary is, of course, the wood anniversary. A lot of people will hear that. Yes, that will be the response. They'll be like, haha, finally an anniversary where all I have to give is something that, let's face it, is really for both people and not just for her or him, depending on the gender of your partner or them. But, try to be a little creative this year. And when you're thinking about what you can give that's made of wood, maybe give some new furniture or a lovely antique jewelry box or even, a wooden piece of jewelry. Wood. It's not just for bedtime anymore.
What about you,
Wood.
Matt?
It's not just a fun way to talk about erections.
Anything you want to say to the fans, or should we just move on to your level up?
I've really enjoyed this last 5 years. I'm glad that this show has lasted as long as it has. We've seen a lot of other shows that started with us come and go, to be honest with you. And we have kind of gone strong for the most part. We've had some ups and downs, for sure. I almost left the show at one point. Jim did leave the show at one point, but we badgered him into coming back. John has been our rock. Vanessa has been the star of the show since she joined in season 2. Much like, what was that kid?
Poochie.
Yeah, you're Poochie. No, who's the kid?
Scrappy?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
All right. Anyway,
No, this is a true story. Leonardo DiCaprio joined, what TV show was
Growing
it? Family
Pains.
Ties? Growing Pains, yeah.
Was it Leonardo DiCaprio?
It
Yes.
was.
I
They
had
were like,
no idea. Wow.
yeah, they were like, oh, this show is flagging. I guess let's bring in this little hotshot kid and see what happens. I'm the little hotshot kid.
Yeah, you're the Pussy Posse. So...
I want to be the Pussy Posse.
Fucking Leonardo DiCaprio. It has been real fun, and we've continued to build our listenership, and I think have really settled into a rhythm on the show. I'm sorry about all those seasons I flaked on, and I love you. Thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen. And now for my level up. Have y'all heard about this new show on Amazon Prime called Invincible?
Yeah, I heard about it from you.
Great. Amazon Prime has a new adult animation show called Invincible, and it's a bit like Young Justice meets The Boys. It's not cynical like The Boys. It's good like Young Justice, but it is violent as fuck like The Boys. And you can tell that they've spent a lot of time and effort on the action scenes where a lot of fight scenes and stuff seem to be choreographed and look really slick and really good. And it's got an amazing voice cast with Stephen Yeun and Jason Mantzoukas and Cassandra Oh. Is that her name? Sandra Oh?
There's Sandra Oh. She's
Sandra
an actress.
Oh. And Zazie Beetz. And J.K. Simmons, and Mahershala Ali, and just, that's not even the whole cast. Clancy Brown. There's legitimately a dozen more well-known, regarded actors on the show. It's wild. And it looks great. I've watched they released the first 3 episodes. They're 45 minutes apiece. I've watched the first 2. It is too violent for me to watch when my kids are home. But, I really am enjoying it so far and hoping that it can really take off. So if you have not heard of it, if you have not seen it, if you have Amazon Prime, go check out Invincible. It's a lot of fun. And finally, Vanessa, would you like to tell us how you leveled up?
Oi, boy, howdy, would I like to talk about how I leveled up. Oi, boy, howdy. All right, I'll talk about it. Y'all heard of this This Old Town Road song that the kids love.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'd heard of that too, but I'm not a kid anymore, so I thought it was nice, but it didn't make a huge impact on my life. And then I started to hear this talk. I heard this talk around town, and they're like, "Hey, that Lil Nas X? Check out this "Call Me by Your Name" video. It dropped last night. As of this recording, gotta check it out. Hey, Lil Nas X, check it." So I did, and wowie zowie, if you like things, you'll love the Lil Nas X "Call Me by Your Name" music video. I watched it many times. I can't get enough of it. And then I watched reaction videos of other people watching it. And it's great. John, have you watched this music video?
I have, and I think it might be one of the best pieces of queer media I've seen in the past decade. Maybe. It's
Wowie
so
zowie.
good. It is. He wrote it, wrote the song, and sort of the video was about, this closeted guy he knew who finally came out. And sort of it's about accepting things about yourself that maybe are not masculine or not accepted by society or are viewed by some as satanic. And about the beauty of yourself and being yourself. And it's like chilling almost. It's such a good video. It reminds me a lot of the movie The Cell, if you ever seen that. Like Tarsem style. It is gorgeous, like really amazing design. The costuming is incredible. Like I don't think I've seen a music video with that good costuming. Like
it is.
And all the shots of him, like I guess there's sort of, different aspects of himself, judging himself and holding himself down, and wow.
There is a sort of full body makeup look that is just amazing.
The Satan and the snake, the snake is quite something.
Yes, that's what I was referring to.
Ah, yes. Okay.
If you're like me and you like a snake man, you'll love this music video.
Oh my. I think my favorite scene was the Greeky one there, where all the crowd are like look like statues watching him, and they're all like bronze or marble statues.
Judging him.
It is, I think there's a lot of levels to it. You could really rewatch it and sort of not just, try and get the intent. Cause I think author intent is something, but it's not everything. Like, it's not just about what you think Lil Nas X was trying to say about it, but also how does this affect you and what you think about yourself if you find it very affecting.
Yeah. I will say that he is clearly an artist who puts a lot of thought into what he's writing and how he's visually conveying that. It is, and it had a great video as well. It had a very funny video with it. A lot of humor baked in this. This is less funny and is definitely not necessarily for kids to be watching, which I thought was interesting since he became such a favorite artist of children with Old Town Road. But you know what? You don't have to be just one thing as an artist.
Yeah, I'd say this is definitely on the like if you don't want your kids watching the WAP video, then probably this is along those lines. Although, yeah, I think they're about the same.
Yeah,
in terms of sexual content.
Say, it's really fun to see something so radical for the world of hip hop. Hip hop, which has traditionally been a field to convey radical political messages. And I am not an expert by any means, but a lot of top 40 stuff I hear these days seems to not be in that tradition of, boundary pushing in the same way as some of the earlier stuff was. That was a lot more about society and whatnot. What I'm referring to is, of course, songs about having money and stuff and good cars and all kinds of money. Yeah, it's not new. They do not speak to me personally. But this definitely does, even though I am not the target audience, and that is why I have pulled my good friend John in to speak about this, because I am
also not the target audience. I'm a 40-year-old
I guess that's true.
fat white gay man, or 41-year-old fat white gay man.
Yes, I am also white. But so, you know, I'm gingerly treading along on little cloven piggy hooves here because I don't want to step on anything. But I will just say, you know what? I liked it. And maybe that's all I need to say. Okay, that's it. That's how we all leveled up. We already did gyms for him. He got shot in the arm and then went to bed like a little baby.
Aw, little buddy. Oh,
Yeah.
little buddy got a little shotty waddy and needs to go Sweepy Town.
Sweepy Town for a little shot.
Oh, I can't talk. I had a little ouchie.
Yeah, my ouchie on my arm. We can also talk about how Jim told us that he went to the pool and did not put on sunscreen and got sunburned all along his right side.
Mm-hmm.
Jim, put your sunscreen on and take some rest and feel better. We're really excited about
particularly with those newish tattoos. He's going to ruin those things.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to the quest log.
Quest log. Space log is more like it. Can you believe we went to space?
Well, I mean, this does go with our going to space in every Final Fantasy game thing.
Yeah, but this time you get like a spacesuit,
Yeah.
spacesuit. You know, and you do a spacewalk.
Space.
They do go to a space shoot. I mean, they got shot out of a space gun.
Mm-hmm. They went
Or
into
space railgun.
cryo sleep. They put on their space suits.
I don't know why.
They punched buttons. It does not make sense for them to go into cryo sleep. They are just going into orbit, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to Mars or anything. And then we had a real gravity sequence, but we'll get into that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the space station, it does have some fun gravity, really confusing to move around in, but whatever, it's fun to look at moments.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Gonna take my horsey. Now it's stuck in my head. I just brought it up, and now it's going to be in my head all night.
Mm-hmm. What you gotta do is watch his new video to get that song in your head instead.
At first, I thought you were talking about the Suicide Squad trailer, and I was like, can't wait to talk about this.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about that too. Everyone knows that I do very much love a actor who's in that film whose name I can definitely pronounce because I love him, and it would be very disrespectful not to learn how to say his name, which is, as you know, the name that he goes by is David Dastmalchian, who I have mentioned on this show as having gone down a little rabbit hole of his IMDb, because I do love him, as I have said many times. And again, when I say that I love him, I mean that I love his work. I do not know him. This is not an endorsement. However, I am very excited to see him put on that polka dot suit and be the polka dot man.
Odds on his dying in the movie.
When I first heard about this casting, I assumed it would be sometime within the first half hour of the film. However, the promotional material does heavily feature him. So
yeah, you can kind of tell that a lot of people that are named in that cast do not seem to have a lot of time. I'm sure there's a couple of them that will surprise you. Mm-hmm. Will die earlier than you think, will last longer than you think, but I'm willing to bet that a lot of them, like Michael Rooker, that guy looks like he dies in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, so my new prediction is that he will die in the last, 20 minutes of the film, something like that. Because, I've been burned by the world before, and I don't believe in a world where it would let me have him in a film and maybe still be alive for a sequel.
The premise of the movie is that they all die, so...
I know. I guess we'll always have the memories.
So,
Final Fantasy characters in space! space.
So you get to the Lunar Gate, which is like a little ramp up to space. It's got like a skateboard ramp, but the skateboard ramp ends in space. And
it's a train.
No,
it's a rail. You go up a rail like on a train. It's like a train that shoots you into space for some reason.
It's like a ramp because it ends. It's not like a space elevator or something.
Yeah, it is. It does end, but my point is that it does seem to be like on tracks, like a train. It's like a train ramp. So the best kind of ramp, the best kind of train.
You're going
the kind of ramps.
And wacky old Dr. Odin has a plan. The plan is when you get there, you don't seem to know what's going on. You're like, so, how do I fix Rinoa? It's like, okay, well, you're going to enter the space pod to go into space. And Squall's like, wait, what? Wait. And yeah, no, so you'll get in the space pod. You'll go into outer space and, Rinoa's fine. That's the whole idea.
Nobody explains how taking Rinoa to space is going to cure her.
You take her to space, Matt.
No, it's because Alone is up there. It has nothing to do with space.
Oh, okay.
I still think it's Eleni.
L1 is there.
Alone is there.
Yeah. So you do go, you get loaded up into the space, and I noticed that the space gun that shoots your space bullets that you get loaded into are called, it's called the tin can launcher. That's what it says along the side of the gun in the cutscene.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I thought that was.
Yeah, just to be clear, it's not a spaceship. You get put in cryo sleep and put in a pod, and they just fire your ass into space, which is pretty fucking great, to be honest with you. And then when you make it to the space station, there's literally just guys out there to catch you.
Well, I like.
Seems like a great idea.
That they really put a lot of thought into the mechanics of this space gun, but we'll get back there when you actually, because basically you get loaded into the space gun, and Zell's like, I'm going to stay on Earth to help Mee-Maw.
John!
Yeah, Zell does not want to come.
Mee-Maw.
Her name is
Mee-Maw. It's Mee-Maw.
So what was it that's
I'm Mee-Maw. How did we not bring that up in our Justice League episode?
What does he say?
He says I'm Me-Maw, but it sounds like he says I'm Mee-Maw.
Yeah. Because his mother is like, is it really you? He goes, I'm really Mee-Maw.
So Zell's going to stay on Earth to help Mee-Maw. And so he's going to go with Adia to Dr. Odin's lab. And that's what you do. You know, you're not going to follow Squall out into space. You're going to go back to
fucking
Esther.
Annoying.
Yeah. It's like, and here we go. 5, 4.
And you know that
3,
you just set all your junctions
2.
up on Squall and his whole team.
Yeah.
So that you could walk him through one screen, and then it's like, okay, switch it all over to Zell and Mee-Maw.
At least switching junctions is fast. It's like you just go junction swap. Zoop, zoop, zoop.
It is fast, but I've spent way too much time on it. I can promise you that. It's really annoying.
Who else besides Squall and Rinoa did you send into space?
One lucky friend can go into space with them, and I thought the lucky friend this time would be Irvine. What about you?
I sent Quistis.
Same. I usually bring Quistis along. I like Quistis. I like her whip attacks. I like her blue mage stuff.
So, you gotta go over to Dr. Odin's lab in Esther, and he's like, oh, so you want to know what a Lunatic Pandora is? Well, all the monsters are coming from the moon, you see, and remember that
What the fuck? Fucking Lunatic Pandora. This came out of nowhere. They're like, by the way, there's monsters on the moon and they shoot down to Earth sometimes. And you're just going, what?
You know, because
and
it's
also
the Crystal
Lunatic
Spire.
Pandora's coming. What?
Yeah.
So fucking stupid.
Now, Lunatic Pandora is my favorite Splinter Cell game. So at least it was a good reference to that.
Lunatic Pandora is my favorite Persona.
So the Crystal Spire is sort of
Lunatic Pandora is my favorite Batman villain.
Let's try and establish what all these things are. The Crisp Bowl Spire is the thing
Crystal?
that the
It's the Crisp Bowl Spire.
Yeah, it's crystal.
It is a
Isn't
bowl
it?
Yeah,
of
no,
crisp
I just misspoke.
cereal.
Oh, okay.
That's where Laguna and friends went to, that weird crystal lair where you were like setting traps and rolling rocks. That is the Crystal Spire. The Crystal Spire was sent from the, it like came down from the moon along with a bunch of monsters in the first lunar cry. And that's how it got to Earth. And now it acts like a homing beacon to, pull monsters in from the Earth. And they're like, okay, how do we stop this from happening? Because the monsters are ruining everything. So they created a sarcophagus around the Crystal Spire called the Lunatic Pandora, that sealed it off and stopped the lunar cries from happening. This
Lunatic Pandora is my favorite goth metalcore band. Come on, guys.
Of course they're fantastic. Unfortunately, Galbadia has seized control of Lunatic Pandora, and it's heading right this way.
Lunatic Pandora is my favorite shade of eyeliner.
Really? That's Lunatic Pandora is my favorite high-end makeup store. You know, like they have like 15 staff members for every customer, and they sort of always follow you around the store.
Yeah.
I tell you guys?
Lunatic Pandora is my favorite charm jewelry store run by mad people.
At this point, there's alarms everywhere. You go outside, and Lunatic Pandora, which looks like kind of like like a classical
Just a big rectangle.
Well, it's sort of like indented. It's like an old weight, an old timey weight, except without a handle that is like flying over the city. And then Dr. Odin's like, okay, I am judging the path. Oh, you know what? I should do more of Werner Herzog. Okay, so I'm judging the path of the Lunatic Pandora, and you'll be able to follow it, but you have to meet it in one of 3 locations.
I think the Lunatic Pandora looks like a Gronk droid without feet.
A gonk droid.
Gonk droid, thank you.
A little stretchier, though, a little taller. Because a gonk droid is wider than it is tall, and a Lunatic Pandora. Anyway, so
John just called a gonk droid a chud.
The Dr. Odin explains about 7 times that you have 3 places to meet Lunatic Pandora in the city, and you have a limited amount of time to do it.
This sucks.
It's real.
This city is really impossible to navigate.
Right.
I lucked out that the guide helped. I had a guide, and even that barely got me there. Like, this is nonsense.
I got there in 1 minute
Nonsense.
and then had to just stand around for 4 minutes till it got there. I had 5 minutes to get here. But I also I think I turned off encounters with, not with a cheat, but with an ability that you get with one of your GFs. So I was like, I'll just get there. But then I had too much time. So, you get inside, Zell gets inside Lunatic Pandora, and now if you did the Laguna stuff correctly, you can reach an Ultima draw point or get an Ultima stone or something, which I guess I thought I did right, but I did wrong. So that didn't work. And
yeah, I felt like all the stuff that I got from doing it with Laguna, so we talked about this several episodes ago, listeners. If you remember, we ran through this as Laguna, and we were like, oh, if you push the trap and you knock the rock over and this is what it all led to. And all it was legitimately just a couple of pickups. It was nothing. Nothing.
It was not worth the effort, for sure.
I am still less than level 20. I am still using my starting weapons.
Oh, no.
I'm still doing 10,000 damage.
I did manage to get all the best weapons. I think Vanessa did too.
No, I didn't get the weapons, but I did get all of the summons, and I did accidentally level some of my characters to level 100.
Yeah, I got Squall to level 100, but it's fine. I'm destroying everything real fast.
My Squall is level 18.
You get onto the ship, you get these pickups, and then you do get thrown by Cypher off of the Lunatic Pandora, and they're like, well, I guess we need to sit around and see what happens.
Yeah, they're like, well, we're not on it, so okay.
At least they were okay. They survived that fall fine. Meanwhile, back on the lunar base, you see the bullets shoot, and they are getting slowed down by, the space nets. They get launched through a series of space nets that slow it down, and then.
But they're like laser nets.
Yeah,
it's weird,
neat.
but it's
a very strange technology, though.
Yeah.
It's like, why not just have a space shuttle?
So they shoot you at this space station like a bullet, and then they put up a bunch of nets to slow you down, and then some guys just have to be out there floating to catch you and drag you inside. I really liked this a lot. It's a cutscene. It looks great. It's crazy. It's a lot of fun. It's absurd.
It reminds me of when in Gundam and animes like that, they obviously put a ton of thought in how the ships work and the technology. It's like that, where they really thought this through, and it's crazy how much thought they put into it, but it's great.
I liked it too. The characters are fairly nonchalant about this, although I am under the impression that they didn't know that space travel was a thing until just now. But maybe they did.
Who knows? I mean, they've been to school. You think that's something you would study at
right.
the garden.
S-Star is like a blocked off community. It's Wakanda, it's super advanced.
Okay. So you get on, and Squall, Rinoa, and one lucky friend get unthawed. Rinoa is placed onto a pedestal in the middle of a room. Squall has to leave to go talk to L1, but he gets very threatening to one of the guards there. He's like, you take care of her and don't touch her, okay? The guy's like, yeah, and that's my job. Don't worry about it, buddy. And
yeah, he's getting pretty aggro about this, Rinoa in a coma, but he has been ever since she dropped into one.
You can talk to Pete or Piet, one of the commanding officers, and you can talk to a researcher who explains that this station is used to seal Adele away. They put her in this force field, and they scramble her communications, which would cause the lunar cry. But doing so has actually jammed all the radio frequencies on Earth. And, remember how you all said that's not something that happened in this game? And I was like, no, this is a thing that happened, that radio frequencies were jammed. Why don't you all go to your dens and apologize to Johnny?
Johnny, I'm sorry that this game wasn't written more clearly, so I didn't know that the radio signals were jammed.
And that's why they had to start laying all this HD cable, and all the cities have such a hard time talking to each other.
And it's why Adele cannot be on the radio anymore.
So, the Esther president is there doing repairs personally on the seal. You see him in his spacesuit outside. And they also look down on their monitors. They see that a lunar cry is happening, and the monsters, which look like little red blobbies, like a Parasite Eve, are building up on the surface of the moon.
Yeah, it reminded me of the, what's it called in Dragon Age? Yeah, the thing where the Darkspawn.
The Blight?
The Blight. Yeah, that's what it looked like to me.
And, let's see. So you finally talk to L1, and she's very apologetic about getting you involved in all this. Squall asks for her help in saving Rinoa. She's not sure she can, because she can only send people she knows back in time, and she does not believe the past can be changed, and also she doesn't know Rinoa. But Squall's like, no, Rinoa's right here. You can get to know her now. And she's like, yes.
I guess like meeting a woman in a coma counts as getting to know her in your book. All right, weirdo.
Speaking of her being in a coma, though, she does wake up.
She does. It's great. She wakes up all by herself and she goes for a little walkie walk.
She is having a little bit of a flux problem. A little bit of a blurby wurble thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess she's just a little unsteady on her feet and also in the fabric of reality after waking up from her coma. But other than that, she seems fine. She does not want anyone to bother her, so she does like magically toss them to the side whenever they approach her.
Including Squall, which he's very upset about.
Yeah, he goes to like give her a hug and she's like, toss, no thank you, which is her right, you know? And then she decides to go to the control room and just check out the space station.
So she does start doing a bad thing, though, which is she does unlock the seals around Sorceress Adele, which maybe I can't agree with as a strategy so much.
Yeah, she doesn't really discuss why she has decided to do this. She just heads into the control room and unlocks Seal 1, and then...
She is walking like the ghost from The Grudge at this point.
Well, sure, but, you know, she's been asleep for a while. I'm sure she's just... Like, her leg is probably still asleep and a little bit tingly.
Have they previously mentioned that the Sorceress Adele is dead in space? Is entombed in space? I don't remember them ever mentioning this.
They don't. Well, everyone outside of Esther doesn't know where Adele is and assume that she died. But that's not what happened. What happened was she was sent into space.
So Rinoa undoes the first lock.
Adele in space!
And she wants to undo the second lock, but it is on Adele's prison, which is not actually on the space station. It is in orbit, close to the space station.
And so she breaks the seal as through a fractal on a breaking wall, and she gets a little crazy. That's a seal joke. Would the other song have been better?
No, I just, I cannot understand the lyrics to that song except, we get a little crazy. So I did not understand, what you were referring to.
Oh, okay. So, so she is out there. So here's the part where I kind of lost the plot a little bit. She's outside. Broken the seal. Squall.
No, I mean, let's not just gloss over how she gets out there. She goes and she puts on a nice old-fashioned spacesuit, and she just floats out into space.
And Squall tries to follow her. He does put on a spacesuit, but she gets out of the gate before it's shut down. So he gets locked inside, and she gets outside.
Everyone's freaking out. They're like, we have to evacuate the president. We have to all get out of here. She's gonna...
I don't remember the president being up here until this scene also.
He's in a spacesuit.
This for sure, this game at this point just starts barreling along and being like, oh, by the way, you're going to space. By the way, there's a sorcerer out here. By the way, the president's here. By the way, Rinoa's a sorceress now. By the way.
It is way out of left field. Especially when you think about where we started, which was Squall being like, I don't want to go to school, whatever.
You're Disc 3 crazy. Classic Final Fantasy.
So Rinoa's out there. The space station, I guess they're just evacuating it because they believe that Adele is going to wake up. It's not falling apart or anything.
Yeah, but it is going to get gooped up in monster juice real fast.
That's right, the lunar cry. Because it's right
By the way, there's monsters on the moon, and sometimes they drop to Earth and destroy whole cities. We've neglected to mention this really pertinent fact.
There's one interesting bit of environmental storytelling. You'll notice part of the Centra continent where the orphanage is does look like it's been shattered. and they make one vague reference to that's the continent being destroyed by the sorceress or a lunar cry or something.
Mm-hmm. There's also that weird spot on the map that's like a meteor crater.
That's what I'm talking. Oh no, that's not what I'm talking about.
No, that's something else entirely.
Oh, I think, is that where the secret last boss, real final boss of the game is?
No, it's like near the Balam Garden.
Oh, okay. I haven't found the secret last boss of the game, and I'm not going to fight it.
Oh, well, maybe it is then, because I thought that you had.
I thought so too, but I fought Ultima Weapon, but not Omega Weapon.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, Rinoa's out there. Everyone hops into escape pods, and then Squall's like, look, I'm not just going to leave Rinoa out in space. And they're like, you're crazy. Get in the escape pod, and he's like, heck no, goodbye.
But he does like merge, like L1 does a little flashy, and you see like Rinoa's thoughts, and I don't understand that part.
Yeah, he seems to get in the escape pod and then kind of just gets out while it's flying, right?
Well, what happens is L1 sends him back in time into Rinoa, but only like a minute back in time. So...
hang on, she sends him back in time like 3 times. She sends him way too far back, and it digs into like when she was talking to Zell about getting his ring.
Right, that's right.
And then she sends him to the right spot, but like while she's possessed, and you see Ultimacia, I think, at this point, finally.
Right.
And Ultimacia sees you.
Yeah, and then she sends him back in time like 1 minute, and you get to basically watch her die in space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's pretty fucking horrifying, actually. Mm-hmm. She's just floating in space in a spacesuit. Her life support systems are crashing, and she's like, guess I'll just drift endlessly.
Yeah, it's a real Sandra Bullock moment for her.
Is it pronounced Sandra?
How else would it be pronounced?
Sandra?
Sandra.
Oh. This is like... Lara Croft all over again.
You mean Lori Croft? She's in
Lana Crunch.
She's in the current season of PUBG.
Oh, finally.
No, I'm sorry. She's in the current season of Fortnite.
I was gonna say, I think I know who's in the current season of PUBG, mister.
And she's in the current season of Fortnite.
Licensed characters.
There is that's not true. Harley Quinn and the Joker showed up once.
Oh, okay.
She's in the current season of Fortnite, and you can unlock her like modern skin, and then you can unlock her classic skin, where they put her in the blue shirt and the short shorts, and they make her look like just the tiniest bit polygons, just like a tiny bit polygonal. And my son was like, this must be what video games used to look like. And I was like, nah, dude. She looked way worse than this. Way worse.
It's time for him to start getting his video game history education.
Yeah.
So at this point, you do, you leave the you're in an escape pod, but the escape pod has like a hatch in the roof so he goes out of that without killing everyone inside, which I was a little worried about, but no, they're fine. And you go out.
He goes through an airlock.
Yeah, through an air, like a weird, like, laser airlock thing, and you're outside, and then he goes, and you float your way towards Rinoa while he's thinking about how great Rinoa is, and then you grab Rinoa and give her a space hug, and you're like, well, what now? 'Cause we're here. Oh, there's a ship. So he sees a ship.
Yep. Now, hang on. There's a great, I guess, mini game here where you have to like point yourself at Rinoa.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you can fail this mini game.
You can, and I did.
What?
What?
Okay, tell us about that, Vanessa.
So, yeah, if you fail this mini game, like you're drifting along and I guess I was pointing the wrong way, or didn't understand I wasn't just in a cutscene or something like that. And the screen starts like fading to black, and there's a timer. It's like, you only have 1 minute to rescue her. And then it just says like, Rinoa was lost in space forever. Game over.
Wow. Did you have to like redo a whole bunch of stuff?
No, it let me redo it.
Oh,
it was just like, want to try again? I'm like, yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
So you grab her, and you're not going to die in space together, because look, there happens to be a ship right there.
There happens to be a ship that happens to be shaped and looks just like a dragon.
That ship is radical.
Yeah, it's fucking
like,
great.
Every time that ship appears, that Wonder Woman guitar should just start going like the... Instead, it's got some real throwback, like Final Fantasy IV airship music when you fly it around. I was kind of surprised because none of the other songs in the game sound like that, but the airship song is very happy and rocky.
This ship also looks way more sophisticated than any space vehicle we've seen so far.
I don't know. Did you see the lunar base? It looked like a weird, like some kind of sea creature.
Oh, I guess that's true. Maybe I'm just comparing it to the weird capsule gun that they shot us into space in.
Right. So you do go to the ship and you get inside, and Rinoa is like, I just want to give you a real hug because we only got to give each other a space hug before. And he's like, oh, I don't really want, and then she does anyways. And then he hugs her back. It's very sweet. And
she sort of like plonks down into, oh, I guess that's later. Never mind. I'll get to it.
I did not hug her. He like refused to hug her.
Oh.
At this point. He hugs her later.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of later. I thought he hugged her. Okay. Sorry. I'm wrong.
He's all like, we got to get on with the mission.
Yeah, he
and then they
didn't
go
hug
to the
her
cockpit.
Okay. Then I must just remember it wrong.
In what seems to be a very clear David Bowie reference, ground control starts reaching out to you and being like, hey, Major Tom.
Well, that's
weird.
After the, what are they called? The aliens.
Yeah, there's like some little thingamabobs on there. There's some
like
aliens.
Notes
yeah.
On the ship.
Find a ship log. It's like, hey, we accidentally bred these aliens.
Oopsies.
Yeah, whoopsie doodle. And then it sets it out like it's going to be a complicated logic puzzle. It's like, it seems like the aliens are immortal, but they're not actually. It's just that some of them can revive other ones. So if A revives B, then B can also revive, A, and then C, D. And then after you read all that, Rinoa's like, oh, so we just have to kill them in color pairs.
Yeah, you got to kill the red ones, and then you got to kill the purple ones. Sometimes there'll be a room where one of them will rush you, and that'll be in between the color pairs.
So you got to like
be
dodge
fast,
them.
But
yeah, it's not so bad. I did this. It didn't take very long.
I mean, I don't think you have a choice.
Yeah,
we all did it.
And then, I think I killed them in a couple of hits. So you get to you take care of these little alien duties, and you go to the cockpit. And that's where you get the ground control.
Yeah, you do.
To make sure it's off the area. So they're like, oh, don't worry. It's a real simple thing. Just press this button and that button, and then it'll engage autopilot, and you'll be able to land safely on the planet. And
so you sit down in the pilot seat, and then you're like, hey, Rinoa, come sit down in the co-pilot seat. And instead she hops in your lap.
Well, I think
you have a real heart-to-heart.
Is where she gives you the hug first when you get to the cockpit, right? That's where she gives you the hug, and then he does hug her back. And like,
I don't remember this hug, John.
I remember there's a hug, and he puts his head on.
He hugs her back.
He puts his head on her shoulder.
She jumps over to the co-pilot seat, and then he gets down on his knees and hugs her, and that's after this conversation.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
So they have a whole heart-to-heart, basically, and they talk about, I don't know, I don't remember the details. Vanessa, can you walk us through this heart-to-heart? Because it's really sweet. I thought it was a great scene. Like, it kind of turned me around on some of this game.
Yeah, at first he's like, you should go sit in here. And then we see his thoughts and he's like, you'll be safer in the co-pilot seat. So it's like, it's not that he doesn't want to be with her. And you know what, Matt? I can't really give you details because I was so distracted by the terrible pop song that starts playing.
It does play a pop song. They just kind of discuss the future and how they feel about each other. And she talks about like wanting to be closer to him. And he has a lot of thoughts that are kind of like, but I don't know how to do this. We've talked about how he's very clearly like painfully shy and standoffish. And he still at this point doesn't seem to quite know how to handle this, which is fair. Like, I understand that. I was a teenager once. And they talk about, she clearly has realized that she has inherited Idea's sorceress powers, but doesn't want to say it. That's going to be revealed in a moment. So she also is being kind of like, we can't really stay together though. And he's kind of like, why not? And so finally she goes and plops herself down in the co-pilot seat, and she talks about how comforting it is to be held by someone that you care about. They talk about their parents and stuff like that. And then she hops in the co-pilot seat and talks about how scared she is, and that's when he finally breaks down, and he finally reaches over and drops out of the seat onto his knees and puts his arms around her and draws her in close, and it's just very sweet and touching. And then the ground control messages you and demands to know who's on the ship and start referring to Rinoa as the sorceress Rinoa. Mm-hmm. And they talk about how they are going to take her into custody when you land.
Mm-hmm. And then she's like, so that's why we can't be together.
If the frown is shown, then I will know you are no dreamer. So let me
Shall I be the one for you who pinches you softly, but sure?
That's how it goes.
What? If a frown is shown? What? I'd frown if someone pinched me. I'd be like, ugh, what are you doing? Don't pinch me.
How can I let you know I'm more than the dress and the voice? Just reach out, then you will know.
And that's it. The ship lands. The Esther troops show up and take Rinoa into custody. You have a moment of self-doubt where you're like, I don't want to let her go. But she talks about how she has to go and you can't be together, and it's real tragic. You tell her to stay, but she makes what seems to be the right call to go and have Dr. Odin take away her sorceress powers. And so they leave.
The one for you who pinches you softly but sure.
Okay.
If frown is shown, then I will know that you are no dreamer. This is the song that Bar Lady wrote about Laguna.
Oh. Before she hooked up with Commander What's-His-Face.
Yeah, Rinoa's father.
Yeah.
So as Matt said,
Matt's just mad. He is so angry right now.
Did you guys miss me hanging up on the call? So the Esther soldiers take Rinoa away, and now you have the Ragnarok, I guess, as your personal airship. You go back on board and the whole cast shows up and are like, hey, we had a crazy time too. And it doesn't matter. But they do tell you like, hey, why don't we just go rescue Rinoa? Like, how about fuck them? And I was like, yes, this I totally am on board for. Yeah. And for the first time maybe in this game, I was like, here's a mission I can get behind. Yeah. Fuck everything. Go get that girl.
Squall's like, but she wanted to go. And they're like, they're going to put her into cryostasis and shoot her into space. It's like,
But are they? I don't understand. No, I guess. Okay. So remember we had Adia, and they talked about how Adia went to Odin to get her powers taken away. But it turns out that The last time you fought Adia, she lost her sorceress's powers and transferred them to Rinoa, and nobody realized that. So now Adia is just hanging out at her ruined orphanage on that lonely continent.
Correct. But Rinoa must be locked up because Ultimecia could possess her at any time.
Yeah, remember that Ultimecia is a sorceress from the future who is possessing sorceresses in the current time so that she can cause time compression to happen.
Wow.
Where she will be the only person alive.
Can you imagine if time compression happened? That would be awful.
Yeah, we better do everything we can.
She would be the only person alive.
To make sure time compression does not happen.
So it's time for the big rescue Rinoa mission, which is really great because it is not a mission. You just walk in and then leave.
Yeah. You walk in, you grab Rinoa, and you're like, yeah, we're going. And she's like, you came back for me again. And you're like, yep, let's go. And she's like, but, yeah, okay. And you walk outside, and then there's these Esther guys in their government robes, these really doofy looking government robes, and they look like they're going to stop you, and there'd be a fight. But then the biggest, beefiest one is like, he doesn't say anything, but he does wave you through. And Squall turns back and is like, he looks familiar.
Where did we last see a beefy boy?
Who could it be?
This, I thought, what's about to happen here that we're about to discuss, I thought, was one of the funnest twists in the game. Like, I like this. I like all of this. So you rescue Rinoa, you literally just walk in, grab her, and leave. And then you're back in the airship, and you get a call from the Esther president telling you that they have figured out a way to stop Ultimecia, and they want you to come meet with the president. And you're like, maybe it's a trap. But then they're just like, let's go anyway. Who cares?
Yeah. And the way they phrase it is like, oh, they want to hire seeds to kill the sorceress. It's like, I don't think they're saying they want to hire you, but, whatever.
So you go back to Esther. The city is overrun with monsters from the Lunar Cry, and the transportation system is down. Boo. I do like their space couches that you can ride around, but sadly you cannot do it there. You make your way to the presidential palace and are admitted into the president's chambers, and the beefy official is there. It's Ward. And the other guy is there. It's Kiros.
What?
And that means you turn to the president. The president turns around. Laguna is the president.
Laguna?
Like,
pretty great.
Mr. President Laguna?
So you have a note here, Vanessa. Oh, how does he look like?
So he is a little bit older now. He has like a more pronounced smile lines on his face.
His hair is not as like gloriously flowing as it was.
No, he has it sort of
I thought was a good touch.
Tucked into a ponytail. It is still long, and he has part of it swept over one side of his face. It's very neat and nice. He is wearing a baby blue button-up shirt and some just slacks. His shirt's untucked. You can tell he's not a super serious president, or at least not extra formal. And he looks real good. I was like, dang, Laguna. Wow.
Dang.
He has aged like a fine presidential wine.
And this does mean that he is, of course, what would he be? 40. He's like 44, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, he's also wearing some flip-flops, I should say. So, he's just
without
keeping it
socks.
Casual. Yeah, without socks. No, he's not a monster. He's just like a cool president. He's like, I'm not your normal president. I'm like a president you could sit down and have a beer with. I'm a cool president. And they're like, Laguna, and he's like, hey, it's you guys, the fairies from my head, who always were possessing us. That's cool. And then you're like, what? Why are you president? And he's like, we can get into that if you want. That's no big deal.
You do get to ask him basically to fill in all the blanks. Pretty much. I don't think you really get to ask why he didn't end up with Julia.
No, you don't. But you do get to be like, hey, what's your deal? why are you here? And he said, well, you know most of my past, like you have been with me my whole life, essentially, which I thought was kind of cool. And then Squall's like, yeah, I remember how you were like a dick and like an idiot. And then after Alone came into your life, you like sobered up and became a cool dude. And he's like, yeah, so I came to rescue Alone, as you know. And I did so with help from these rebels who were trying to liberate.
Yeah.
Were trying to liberate, what's it called? Estar from Adele. Yeah. And so they helped me save Alone. And afterwards, I really owed them. So I had to come and help in their revolution. And then they made me president for life.
Yeah, he lured Adele into a space shield thing.
Yeah.
It's a great scene where he they lure her to this place and he's got all of his people there like looking all beat up and she's like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, they've kidnapped Eleni and she's inside. And then he follows her in and just straight up like Abbott and Costello shoves her into a fucking trap. It's pretty great. I loved this. I thought this was phenomenal. I like Laguna as president. I like the story behind it. Everything about this I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
Did you like how Ward and Kiros are like, oh yeah, his son does look a lot like him? And that's never really commented on again?
Yeah. They're just like, they mention it again if you go talk to them on the Ragnarok, because we will learn shortly that they're going to join us on board. So... yeah, we...
Wait, so they know that Squall's his son?
Squall says, what?
What?
I am not picking this up from the game. No. Like, you guys keep telling me this when we record these episodes. I don't pick this up in the game at all.
If you talk to Kiros, he mentions that Squall is Laguna's son, and that's it.
Yeah.
Right? That's the only reference to it.
Well, like, later on... the ship, like, you could go talk to Ward, and Kiros is like, oh, Ward says that it's a good thing you look like your mother.
Oh, that's that must be what it is.
Yeah. But
who's his mother? Rain?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Oh, maybe she died in childbirth. Oh.
No, I think didn't she get killed by them looking for L1 or something?
Yeah. He explains that Adele during the sorceress time was like essentially rounding up all of the little girls to go and live in Estar and be her potential replacement. So
it's like little girls who have sorceress potential, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how Alone ended up there. And then after she is rescued, I guess Laguna stays to fight Adele because he knows that Adele will just keep going after little girls if he doesn't. So he talks about how Alone goes to live on the White Seed ship and that she seemed happy there. But he seems a little reticent. He's like, I don't know how she could have been, but it seemed like she was. And then I guess he became so embroiled in this revolution, and they made him president after he defeated Adele, and he's like, well, guess I'm just president now, so I'll stay here. The end.
I feel like Squall should have some follow-up questions about why he didn't go get him.
Well, Squall doesn't necessarily know that Laguna's his father.
Right. I guess they only make oblique references to it.
Yeah, and they haven't done it yet. So,
okay.
But Laguna does say, he's like, but let's do the plan, and I'm sure you have a lot of questions, and if you want to talk to me, I'm here to talk to you, but only if you want. So he kind of implies it.
Okay. I did ask all the questions. You got some fun flashbacks and stuff.
I mean, I'm sure you're right, but I definitely am not picking this up personally in this game. I don't think any of this is true.
Yeah, and so he explains his really good plan. So Cypher, we learn, is trying to wake up Adele in the Lunatic Pandora so that Ultimecia can possess her.
She got brought down to the planet by the lunar cry. She got she got caught up in a big wave of Parasite Eve blobbies, and they took her down into the Lunatic Pandora.
Yes. So they're like, you need to go there and stop her. And they're like, well, what about Ultimecia? He's like, well, here's what we're going to do. They really want Rinoa and Alone. So Rinoa and Alone are going to go to the Lunatic Pandora. You guys are going to kill Adele. And then Ultimecia will have no one to possess except Rinoa. So she'll possess Rinoa because she needs to possess a sorceress to go further back in time, which is why she needs Alone. So she'll possess Rinoa. Alone will send both of them further back in time, and then bring just Rinoa back to the current time, leaving Ultimecia in the past, where she will begin her evil plan of compressing time. And you're like, this is exactly what we've been trying to prevent happening. Your plan is to give her exactly what she wants. And he's like, yes, but there's a twist.
Twist?
When the time compression starts, you'll be able to go to the future. And when you're in the future, you can go to where Ultimecia's body is and kill her. And they're like, but we can't go to the future. It's like, oh, but you can. You just need to remember love and friendship and your friendships. Because, like, normally when you go into compressed time, you won't exist anymore. But if you think about how each other exists, you'll exist. That's the plan.
What a plan!
Mm-hmm. What a plan, what a plan, what a plan, what a mighty good plan.
What a mighty good plan.
Say it again now.
So at this point, you can talk to Laguna and the crew in the conference room.
This is when they drop their hints.
Yeah.
And you can play Triple Triad with Laguna. He has the Squall card.
Ooh. I've given up on card games. Because there's like, to finish the Queen of Cards quest, you have to get a couple of, like, it's like, this is probably going to take you like 30 or 40 tries to get. And then you got to do the CC Club. And I kept losing in that. I was like, you know what? I've done a lot of side stuff in this game. You don't really need, I'm already overpowered. I don't need the card buffs and stuff. I've already got all the girlfriends. So I'm just going to let this one drop.
Yeah, I did not do it either, but I do like to play it. So I did play with Laguna a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So, you said,
wow.
So I guess, should we talk about
what an admission
side
from
quests?
Vanessa.
Should we talk side quests next time?
I think so, because although this is sort of your last chance to do the side quests, Disc 4 is only about an hour. So I think we should save the side quests for next time.
Okay.
So we can bring a quality full-length episode to our friends.
Sounds good to me. Now, you can at this point drive the ship into the Lunatic Pandora, and then you get to find out that the Ragnarok has some extra abilities you might not know about. One.
They're called guns.
It has
They're called guns.
radical guns that come out of the front and go like, and then
it also has a laser cannon and it has arms.
Yeah, it also has arms and a laser cannon and 3 arms. So it does like force its way through the shield in a very sexual moment where it's like pushing and ooh, it's a little too tight. I don't think the ship's going to go through. But then suddenly the ship just slides in.
It's like a sperm and an egg. Like it forces its way in to impregnate that Lunatic Pandora.
With the baby.
Lunatic Pandora, my favorite Papa Roach album.
So you squish the ship inside and impregnate its base. And inside you do immediately fight Raijin and Fujin. They are not hard. She does say, like, this is for Cypher when she does her meteor attack, but meteor does, like, 300 damage to me, so
Yeah.
They did not last long enough against me to use their attacks.
I was drawing full life from her. I drew aura from Cypher, which is a useful spell to have.
Between the cheat that keeps your limits always active and your health always full, my constant use of the Rezakinum, that does like 10 to 15,000 damage. It's hilarious how quickly you beat them.
So you get inside there, but it didn't take me that long. I just extended the fight to draw out full life because that's a powerful magic that you can junction. And from Cypher, I got Aura, which is another powerful magic, but Aura is a cool magic because what it does, if you cast it, is it does a limit break on everyone, or it lets everyone get limit breaks every turn, basically. So it's a super powerful...
I already have that. Well, it's called left trigger.
Yeah, but for those of us who want to play the game with the mechanics in the game, that's the one I use. Is Aura is a super powerful ability that lets you destroy bosses so easily. It's great. Anyway, so then you meet Biggs and Wedge, and Biggs and Wedge, they don't even see you when you walk up to them, but they're like, it just seems like we are having a bum deal here. Our duties suck. We should just leave. And then Biggs is like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to leave. And Wedge says, really? And Biggs is like, yeah, want to come back to my place for drinks?
Mm-hmm.
Wink.
He doesn't even
legit.
like ask him, though. He's just like, I quit, and come on, let's go. And he's like, wait, I quit too? And he's like, yeah, we're going for drinks.
Mm-hmm.
He's come back to my place for drinks.
Biggs and Wedge are gonna fuck.
Yeah, they are.
The longest running Final Fantasy, will they, won't they? Turns out they will. And you run into Raijin and Fujin again, and they're like, oh, well, we aren't going to fight you this time. You got a robot instead. And the robot's like, bleep, bloop, you can steal stuff from my shoulders. I'm a big fishy robot.
This is the same robot that kicked Zell and his crew out of the Lunatic Pandora earlier before we went to space.
Oh, okay. So you get through that, and you can confront Cypher, and oh boy, Cypher is in for it because at the start of this fight, Odin shows up. That horse steaming.
Hang on. You are missing out on a huge plot twist here.
Okay.
Which is that Raijin and Fujin are like, hey, he's like, go fight them. And they're like, actually, no, what you're doing sucks and we're leaving.
Yeah.
And he's like, see you dudes. Like, legit, that's it. It's pretty fucking great, actually.
Well, he does say, like, I thought we were a squad forever. And they're like, yeah, we are.
Posse.
That's why we're supporting you with caring distance compassion. We can't.
They're like, you're a puppet for this sorceress. You're not following your own path anymore. We do not want to be puppets. So this is goodbye. And they bail.
Yeah. And his reasoning is like, well, I always wanted to do something big and make an impact and a difference, and
destroying the entire
world sure is going to make a difference. So that's what I'll do.
But he knows that the Ultimisia's plan is that she will be the only person left on Earth. Does he not realize he's like, oh yeah, she'll be the only person left plus me. I don't think that's part of her plan there, Cypher.
No. And also, why does he want that?
And I always mix up the names, but I think Raijin at this point, she talks in full sentences explaining why they are leaving. She's the one who sort of, very, very eloquently says, no, you've changed. You're under control of someone else, and you're not you used to be great to work with, and now you suck because you're following this jerk.
You are no longer pursuing your own goals, which we want to support you in. You're pursuing the goals of somebody else, and you're a puppet, and we can't support you. It's a sweet scene.
Yeah, I really liked it.
It's crazy. And he doesn't lose his mind and try to kill them. He's just like, all right, peace out.
He's like, yeah. It was really good. I had a lot of fun with you guys. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then you fight Cypher. Let me set the scene here for this fight with Cypher, because
he looks cool. His coat's all tattered now.
Mm-hmm. There's a darkness rising, rain coming down, lightning flashes.
Ooh.
Who is it? It's Odin. And every time we've seen Odin before, it means one thing. He's going to one-hit kill the boss. And he comes there.
That's going to be so humiliating for Cypher.
Uh-huh. His horse starts steaming. Odin prepares the charge. But unlike normal, you see that Cypher is prepared with his sword out. And as Odin charges him, what's that? Odin and his horse are cut in half.
Yeah, what? I saw you posted this to Twitter, and I did not understand.
Because normally...
So do you think that if you have Odin, he always shows up and loses for this fight?
It happened to me, too.
But
then you still one-hit him with a different summon?
Well, okay.
Sort of.
Well, so you fight him for a while, and basically when you get him down to a third health or something. Oh, also, sorry. After he kills Odin, Odin's sword flies up to the sky. Like there's a little shot of that. And then you do the fight, and then with 1/3 health left, suddenly something happens.
Who's our favorite Final Fantasy character? He loves swords and collects them all. It, of course, is Siegfried or whatever his name is.
Gilgamesh.
The guy who is always collecting fake swords.
Gilgamesh is there. He's got 3 arms that are made of wood, but 3 other arms that hold a sword. He grabs this 4th sword and is like, hey, thanks for number 4. But I'm gonna have to kill you now. And then Cypher's like, what? And this guy uses his sword to summon a tornado that just blows Cypher out of the room. It's amazing. And Cypher does say, "Rah!" And it looks like he's dead on the floor.
I don't understand. So Gilgamesh shows up?
Yes. And kills Cypher.
Why?
Because Cypher killed Odin.
Okay, well, I humiliated Cypher in a different way, which is that I one-hit him with my limit break.
I see. Well, I was getting
so
auras
fucking hilarious.
Off of him, so, you know. So he does go down. He's on the floor. Rinoa is like, doesn't even want to look at his body and kind of runs off. And then Cypher's like, yikes! This psych, I'm fine, and then runs off to grab Rinoa. I think that particular sequence of events only happens if you have Rinoa in your party, because then Zell shows up and he's like, dude, we gotta go save Rinoa.
Yeah.
So if you don't have Rinoa in your party, Zell just shows up? He just runs out the...
I think
how does that work?
Don't, she gets captured some other way. I don't know. I had Rinoa in my party, so I don't know. But either way, he ends up with Rinoa and runs out of the room. End of disc 3.
You remember Siegfried, though, Johnny. I mean, I know Gilgamesh is here. I'm just saying that everyone's favorite sword-bearing person is Siegfried, but that's not who comes. It's Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
I don't know who you're talking about, and that's certainly not the guy from Final Fantasy X that you pay money to and destroys everybody. Who was that?
Yojimbo.
Was it Yoshimitsu? Yojimbo. Yojimbo's the fucking best.
Gilgamesh is also great, and he is in Final Fantasy 12, and he's great. Anyway, and he's in 5, which
Final Fantasy 12 is not the fucking best.
Final Fantasy 5 was the start of Gilgamesh, and we have not played it yet. So I still think we should play that one, because I really want to play it. And I've never played it.
Of course we will. Sidebar, we have to play 4 too. Sidebar, my mother called me the other night, out of the blue. She was looking at Steam, and there was a big Square Enix sale. And I did convince her to buy Final Fantasy X Remaster and Dragon Quest XI Definitive Edition. Tell me that's not great.
It's great.
That is great.
And I can't wait to hear her review.
Yeah, I hope she likes them. So
Vanessa's mom is also pretty savvy. She's not much of a gamer, except for like iOS games, which do count as games, by the way. But she knows all about how to use a computer and everything like that. And then I see posts sometimes from people and they're like, oh, my 60-year-old mom, she can't get on the internet. And I'm like, why?
Yeah. My mother is looking for something new to play because she has basically maxed out several characters in Elder Scrolls Online and is tired of it.
Why online games and not solo campaign games?
She's just always been more of an MMO person. She started with EverQuest. She sunk years of her life into World of Warcraft. She did Lord of the Rings Online, Age of Conan Online, Elder Scrolls Online, several others.
Wow.
Just a big MMOer. She loves to join guilds. There's often guilds for older people.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
She's always been a big fan of joining those guilds and kind of meeting people her own, age that play games.
That's really neat, actually. That sounds like
But she's looking for something a little slower.
and not as talky as Final Fantasy XIV, which does have
she did say Final Fantasy XIV, too much text.
There's a lot of it. All right, so we will do the side quest next week.
And we're going to finish the game.
Yeah, next week.
We're going to play. That's right. We have to announce the winner of the poll. Who won it, John? Was it Deus Ex?
No.
Was it Fallout?
Which one?
It was Kingdom Hearts 2.
No.
None of us are happy about this except for Jim, who's already played the game again.
He's probably going to play it another time.
With it. People know that I love Disney because I am a corporate slave. And
who doesn't love Disney?
Yeah,
Monsters don't love Disney.
That's true. One way I leveled up that I did not mention is I set a reminder on my phone for this new line of Disney park scented candles that were released so I could get them right before they sold out. And I did. I think I got the last of one particular scent, and they were all gone within half an hour. So you know me, I'm a Disney fanatic, and I can't wait to spend time with my good pals, Goofy and Donald.
Yeah, I've tried to play Kingdom Hearts 2 several times, and I have never actually been able to get very far into it because I don't like it. So that's life.
Well, after playing Final Fantasy VIII and Kingdom Hearts 2, we're going to have a Johnny game after, so I'm very happy about that.
But it's another fucking JRPG.
Yeah, it is.
I demand we play a non-JRPG after these.
Oh, but after those is a Vanessa game, that great remaster I'm excited about.
And then after that, we'll do a Matt game.
Yay!
Didn't we already do a Matt game? Probably.
Okay.
What's a Matt game?
I don't know. What would be a Matt game?
Deus Ex.
Oh.
But you didn't even nominate that. That was my nomination.
What did I nominate?
Fallout
Skyrim.
3? Oh, Skyrim.
Oh, no, Skyrim, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's move on. So, next game. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 2. Oh boy. Well, thanks, patrons. I mean that unironically. Thank you for being great and choosing things. And I've
played Kingdom Hearts 2 of my own volition in the past. I can't really complain that much. And oftentimes the games that we are least enthusiastic about playing wind up being the best series.
Yeah,
and
I really liked Final Fantasy VIII. So,
yeah,
and I was not looking forward to it.
Right?
Yeah. I told you, though, but you're not going to come around on fucking Kingdom Hearts, because that combat is trash. Hope you like flying around and doing combos in the air, because that's what it is.
Hey, Vanessa. What are you squarely against?
I am roundly for every single thing that happened in this chunker. I am roundly for our heroes getting cryofrozen, and then
Cryofrozen?
cryofrozen and blasted into space. I am roundly for the assault on the Lunatic Pandora that winds up with Zell just being thrown out and just being like, oh, well, classic Zell.
Guess I suck.
Yeah, guess I suck. Womp womp. I am roundly for Rinoa awaking to be possessed and shuffling around like a zombie.
I save some of it for the rest of us, Jesus.
Am roundly for her drifting through space. I'm roundly for finding our spaceship randomly, just like in the expanse of outer space.
And you sort of get some backstory on why it was there, because Laguna like flew it up there to build the space station to seal Adele off in, but they don't explain why it never came back, do they?
The monsters.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But most of all, I am roundly for sexy President Laguna. When we started the series, people were like, is Laguna a Vanessa boyfriend? I was like, no way, not with that long hair. But you know what? Hair can be cut. So I will Delilah myself right over to his tent. I'll chop off those luscious locks, and he will be a Vanessa boyfriend.
Okay.
That's
a bummer. His hair's great. Yes.
What are you squarely against?
You fucking took everything. You were, ugh. Hey, you know what? I'm roundly for Sorceress Adele's awesome design. She's fucking crazy buff and has Seymour Guado hair. I don't know that we talked about it. Maybe I walked away at the time. But Sorceress Adele, pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I don't think we did talk about it. I like
don't think
how
we did. I'm going to drop a picture and we can describe it.
Yeah. She's so buff that she does not appear to have breasts. She just has, like, pectoral muscles, which I think is great. Okay, Matt has put in the chat a picture of some beer. So that is not Sorceress Adele. But we can describe this can of beer he has put in. It is a Jai Alai India Pale Ale. And it has a sticker on it that says Cigar City Brewing.
Yeah, Sorceress Adele, very strong. Very guado-y with tentacles? Antennae?
Yeah, I'd say more like antennae or long, pointy fingers, just like Seymour Guado.
And there's long dreadlock braids in the back that are red. So she's sort of got, is it Gerudo, the Ganondorf species from Zelda, with the gray skin and the red hair?
Oh, yeah. She does not wear a shirt at all, just to show off her amazing muscles. Mm-hmm. I guess she has sort of like either tattoos or pasties over her nipples.
Mm-hmm. She does have claw hands, too.
Yeah. And she wears a long, flowing skirt.
Mm-hmm. It's very gorgeous.
Oh, here's a high definition photo of her beautiful face. She has like what's that thing in wrestling called? It's like a little thing for your head.
I mean, it looks like
an
X-Men
helmet,
face
I guess,
sock.
but your face is
looks like
exposed.
something Gambit would wear.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It looks like a face sock like you would see in an X-Men comic book, like Gambit wears.
She has glowing red eyes.
I think a face guard, like in boxing, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And she's great. There's nothing
Crazy
to dislike
black
about this.
spike wings. Legit, I think that it's a great design, and I like the fact that she's very buff. Like, that's not something that you often see for a female antagonist or protagonist or anything in a game like this, is to see it just an extremely buff lady. Like, it's cool. She looks great. Hopefully, she does not get absolutely wrecked in 10 seconds, which she probably will. Anyway, that's me. What about you, John?
I am roundly for the Odin to Gilgamesh transition. What an awesome thing to happen.
Did you already have Gilgamesh as a GF?
No.
Do you have Gilgamesh as a GF now?
Yes.
Yes.
That's awesome.
It replaces, so I guess it does the same thing of randomly 1 in 6 times ending a fight immediately.
Yeah, but I think that it will sometimes appear in the middle of a fight rather than just at the very beginning.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I haven't fought. That's why I'm saving my review of the additional GFs for the end, because I haven't fought with him yet, and I haven't used Odin yet or Jumbo Cactuar, aka.
So what you're saying is that
Bim
next
Jenks.
week's episode is going to be fucking super long.
Yep.
Shit.
Sorry, Matt.
Well, hopefully we can all upload our tracks before 6 p.m.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. You want to talk about that, Matt? Where you're like, I'm not going to upload my track till tomorrow. And you're like, and I was like, I thought Matt was kidding. No,
that's not true. I just fell asleep.
All right. So let's move on. So we have a Patreon at patreon.com/Square Roots Podcast. And on it, you can help support the podcast with whatever amount you want, but for $3 a month, you get access to every single bonus episode we've done, including the latest one on the Snyderverse.
We did do a Snyder Cut episode, which, to be perfectly frank, it seems like every podcast did. So I'm a little.
We should have done the WandaVision.
We should have done the WandaVision.
It's okay.
Whatever. Like, it was a good conversation. We certainly filled up like an hour and 20 minutes yapping about it. So I guess we shouldn't be that concerned about it. Like, we talked about it. I just don't feel like we said anything that anybody else didn't say, you know?
No. In fact, I was listening to Popular Movie Podcast today.
Which one?
And I don't want to say.
Because there's 2 of them that both did.
I listened to some of the How Did This Get Made, and they kind of, I was listening to it, I was like, oh, they sound exactly like us.
Yeah.
It was not that one. It was another Popular Movie Podcast.
I'm not going to listen to the Flophouse version because I feel like they're just going to drag it, and I'm not here for it. Like, whatever.
Yeah, I was not here for How Did This Get Made because they liked it too much, and I only like to hear things dragged. But one of the Flophouse hosts, I don't know why I'm being coy about it, it was Dan, he pointed out that it was strange that the Flash did not know who Bruce Wayne was, and I felt very validated.
Not strange at all. Sure. Name the 6th richest man in the world, Vanessa.
So, not in addition to these bonus episodes, of which there are like 30-something or 40.
It would be like if Elon Musk sold stuff and it was called like Musk Tech. You know, like Wayne is not just his name, it is his brand. It's more equivalent to like the Trump brand. I hate to say it, but it's true.
For $5 a month.
And Wayne Tower, and Wayne Phones, and Wayne Tech.
Vote on upcoming games. We do a couple of polls a year, sometimes some extra ones. We just did one, and that's why we're doing
Wayne stuff everywhere.
Stand the
Kingdom
Wayne.
Hearts
Against
2.
my window.
But one thing we get to give to every patron, no matter what you give, is a thank you at the end of the show. So let's start out with Jim.
No.
Oh.
I won't do it until we read these emails, which I have included in the notes.
Really excited about the 6 emails that we have to read.
Wow. Matt, would you please read the first email?
Yes, I will. Hello. Who is your favorite cast of main characters overall from the games you've played? Doesn't include NPCs or antagonists, literally just your favorite party. And why criteria do you use? Sincerely, Vanessa's mom. P.S. Eat your vegetables.
Thanks, Mom.
Vanessa, who is your favorite cast of main characters, and why criteria do you use?
My favorite cast of main characters is the cast Mass Effect 2. Although I have to admit my first instinct was to say KOTOR 1, which would be like Mission and Karth and Jolie and that murder robot and
Karth are nasty
and HK whatnot. Both games by BioWare. Criteria why I use is I like voice acting. I like party members that you can get to know through branching dialogue trees. I like systems that allow you to put points into different relationships and just maybe get to know them more in depth if you choose to, although you do not have to. So that is my why criteria. Of course, Dragon Age is another close runner-up, but anything with a diverse and talented voice cast.
We have not played Dragon Age.
What?
Oh, we did. We did. Sorry.
What a bizarre and easily disputable claim.
No, we did not play Dragon Age.
Wow. Well, I guess we can put that on the list to play then. Woohoo!
We played Dragon Quest. We played Dragon Fire, Breath of Fire.
Dragon Fire. We played Dragon Fantasy VII.
We played Dragon Warrior, the Dragon Ball Z game for the NES.
We played RuPaul's Drag Race, the iOS game based off the popular series.
Can I go next?
Yes.
My favorite cast of characters is Final Fantasy X. I love Tidus. I love Yuna. I love Lulu. I love Oron. I even like Waka and the Catman. It's a great game with a great cast.
Excuse me? Do you love Riku?
Riku's fine. Anyway, that's my answer. And my why criteria is because they're fucking great. John, who's your favorite cast of characters or main party from the series we've played?
You know, I was thinking about this, and while I really like Final Fantasy VI, I think that's got a really great cast. It gets slightly edged out because of Teddy and the entire cast of Persona 4, who I love.
That's a good
except
one.
when they're
that was my runner-up.
Because they can be problematic sometimes, but they're all so charming, like with the steak and Teddy and Teddy with Teddy. Yeah, that's my answer. I wonder what Jim's would be. Everyone from stupid Kingdom Hearts?
No, it would be...
probably fucking Kingdom Hearts. Because he loves Donald and fucking Mickey and Goofy and all those pieces of shit.
Who doesn't? God. They're our friends. They're our friends from childhood who remain our friends all our life. Corporate mascots.
All right, next email. From Jordan. Hey, I sent y'all an email about a month ago. I heard you read some emails in this week's episode, and you might have mistakenly credited another email to me, but never read my actual email. I hope you can get around to it. Maybe there's another Jordan who emailed at the same time, but I wanted to double check.
Yeah, this was something that Matt did, and
no, that's a lie.
I'm sorry. I mean, this is something that Jim did.
Vanessa,
and,
yeah,
it was me.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Well, here's Jordan's other email. Hello, I love all your voices.
That's weird.
That is the first we've ever heard that particular piece of feedback.
Absolutely. In fact, we've heard the opposite.
All the time.
Have we?
Well, yeah.
Do we?
Yeah. I've heard.
We're not like the McElroys where everybody is like a super squeegee voice.
That's because we're not popular.
That's true.
I'm from West Virginia. Let me give you some advice.
Believe me, if we ever garnered more attention, there would be plenty more criticism to come right along with it.
You all have beautiful voices, and I love your faces.
Aww. Your podcast has got me through many a night at a boring factory job where we make salty snacks. That sounds like a ritzy job.
Sounds a little nutty to me.
You must be some kind of nuts.
Sounds like he's a chip off the old block. Don't twist yourself into a pretzel trying to get your work done.
You know, we might say that his
diminishing
job
returns
is a little tackies, but I think he can combo it with a great podcast.
Oh my God. Please finish reading the email.
Sea salt seaweed is a good snack.
Ice cream? I've listened to your episodes of several Final Fantasy games and Kingdom Hearts, among a couple others. I will say, I must be a masochist of sorts due to my biggest pet peeve being when people mispronounce names. Many names are mispronounced. Oh, like
I mean, this podcast, when we mispronounce a name, we go with it. Like, we know that we're mispronouncing it, and we don't fucking care. We think it's hilarious.
I will say that I think
Titus.
I tend to not mispronounce names so much as not know what the characters are named.
Well,
ever.
also you adding letters a lot of times to
I do
things.
add letters. That was a problem I had when I was learning to spell as well. Most children apparently drop consonants, but I would tend to add them.
Huh, okay. Yeah, I've definitely noticed that. So
adding letters. This
but that
is a
doesn't
song
matter.
about adding letters.
Your
It's not a song about letters. It's a song about adding letters.
I look to regularly to see what you're playing through next. Also, I just happened to have just beaten Final Fantasy VIII for the first time. I played as a child and got about halfway through. I thought it would be a huge nostalgia bomb playing it again, but I found most of what I played was not very memorable. All I recalled was a few of the CGI cutscenes and a couple of bosses I couldn't get past when I was 10. You know, I was thinking about why we all can't remember it. It's because of the Guardian Forces. That's why none of us can remember playing this game before.
Yep.
That is right. I can't believe I didn't see it before.
Yeah. And that's why no one remembers playing this game at all. Thanks for the awesome podcast. I'm off to give you 5 stars on iTunes. Long overdue. Well, thank you, Jordan. That is awesome, and I'm glad you like it. And I apologize for mispronouncing L1 and Odin, or Odine, or Titus, or Titus, or Minotaur, or Manitor.
All right. We have
Manatee.
2 more letters to read. One is from our friend Dan Double N, who said, I have a question for the next time you guys answer mail. I've been getting into stock investing in the last little bit and have been kicking the tires on a few video game companies. If you were going to buy into a favorite company, which one would each of you buy into and why? Thanks, everyone. Keep doing a great job, Dan Double N. GameStop, I guess, is my answer. I don't know.
Yeah, that's buying high. That's the opposite of what you want to do. Okay, who's going to have the next breakthrough? What about this Balam Wonderwall?
Yeah.
I think that's going to take off.
Yeah.
Isn't that a Sony game?
It's a Square Enix game.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so Square Enix is the...
Yep. Our hot tip, everyone's talking about Balam Wonderland nonstop. It's the hottest game of the generation with the ray tracing and the HDR and the 4K 60, 120. I don't know if it has all those things, but
I don't know.
Obviously, Balam Wonderland.
Dan, we're the wrong people to ask this question to.
Jim did have an answer that he shared in the group chat, which was Troika Games, creators of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. It is a defunct company. However, if you can find a way to invest in it, definitely do.
All right, we have one more email here that I want to read.
If you get a controlling interest of Aruze, do that. Buy all their stock so you can make them, or Konami, either Aruze or Konami, buy those to make them release all their games again. Thank you.
We have one more email to read here. I'll just get through it real quick. It is fucking the soul out of Mario while he bites his lip so hard his mustache brushes the underside of his chin. Mamma mia, I'm so close, he says through a series of heavy breaths. Oh, he exclaims as he gives me an extra life in my tummy as he ejaculates into me, sizing down. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not a letter. That's just a tweet that I won't stop sharing with the group. Credit to @Lynn DeWitoya, because that's the funniest thing I've ever read in my entire fucking life.
Now it's in my ears, not just my eyes.
Now let's go through and thank every single patron we have.
Oh my God.
Starting with Jim. Jim, here's your chunk. Who wants to do a Jim impression?
Hi guys, it's me, it's Jim. I've been here all along. Heidi ho. Here I go with my patrons. Sean, Justin Ham, Andy Smith. My roommate was eaten by a T-Rexar. Mary's Queen of Suck-Offs. Aaron J. O'Toole.
Queen of Suck-Offs? Jesus Christ,
yeah,
Vanessa.
Excuse me, my name's Jim. Aaron O'Toole, what a tool they are. Arm and Hammer, more like a sickle and hammer, what to call me. Margaret Sarnsbury, Cassandra, Squall is not the mama, George Brady. The Fitnessgram Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobatic capacity test that gets progressively difficult as it continues. The test, Isaac Wright, Andres Rivera, Huxley, Guana Spectacular, FF6 Enemy Reference Failure. I joined the Patreon just to vote for Kingdom Hearts 2. Oh, well, thanks. Thanks,
vote
buddy.
Against Kingdom Hearts 2.
No, I'm pretty sure it says just to vote for Kingdom Hearts 2. So thank you very much. It's me, Jim.
So mad respect, though. We appreciate you. Like, we really did not want it to win. Fucking Jim and his electioneering. Legit. It's fucked up. I mean, I told him to post it, but still. Sorry, Jim, for interrupting
is sponsored by NordVPN, MC Genesis, Rapidosa Keys, Knopford, Get in the Corner, Johnny, Christopher Highness, Eisen, Frederick, Grayson, Selfie goes Choo Choo, Chief Hazard built Kingdom Hearts circular conveyor belt for me so I can play it indefinitely. Thank you very much. I love to play Kingdom Hearts indefinitely. John Sala Briggerth, Vanessa Walter, Vanessa Singist, dancing as Mom Nitmer, Sexy Crush Boy Toyas, Aaron Bachman, Listen Up Scoot Stain, Stephen Paget, Watching the Wind, and DJ Ethro.
I'd like to thank Eric Garby, Sorceress Vanessa's mom, Sergeant Spaghetti, Chris Paniak, Please Play With My Squalls, Ryan Miller, Aiden Marriott, Metal Gear Solid 1 in 2021, Triple Triad Try Hard, Nathan Poirot, Vamos Sounders, PJ Ends. Look, nerds, yeah, I'm late updating my profile name for Final Fantasy VIII, but I've been a busy boy. Jake Dickerson, Eyes of the Shifter, Chris Ryan, Selfia's Labia Garden, Tonberry King's Family Kitchen. Oh no. Devin Sloan, Matt Jorgensen, Alexander Jokic, GF Junction, What's Your Function, CharityWater.org, Gage La Charité, Do Good, Recklessly, Grey Code, Soy Soda Pop, Miguel Torres, Tyler Petty, David Pascal, Wedgecoon, Snap Crackle Pop, I'm Chester Cheetah, Zen Master Football, Dr. Fine, say everyone's name, Matt, Squall is a wiener, Newland, Arthur, my mom, Ari Corpovara, more like Final Fantasy. Great.
I would like to thank Joshua Bennett, Zachary Train, Citrus C, Riju kept saying the word.
Riju.
What did I say wrong?
Ryuji.
Oh, of course. Jonathan Ellsworth, Joshua W. Broxton, welcome to Cute Boy Jail. Hong Kong.
Don't forget Paul Birch. Paul Birch is also there. Thanks, Paul Birch
is also here. Final Fantasy VIII, the only Final Fantasy where you can have two brothers be your GF. Bumpkins cannot stop listening to Man with the Machine Gun, and so can you. Race Jenkins or Childress, still just a Zell stan, maybe a Zell apologist. Robert M. Pullum, Fresh Eyes, WWE Mike G, Justin Rash, Cameron Shoei, Randy P, Dylan Rowe, Cyril the Wolf. When performing The Stranger, is it technically stranger danger? To a certain extent, you should not probably intentionally cut off blood that flow to any part of... I challenge the other Tracy to a duel to the pain. William Westgard, Joshua Humphrey, David Green, Matthew Casterline, Mostly Rational Person, Jameson, Ethan G. Pearson, Hales, I'm Commander Squall, and this is my favorite store in the garden. Lauren Prince, Nick Stewskiel, the RPG Luminary, wonders when the hosts will discuss the plot of Miss Marvel. Sabra,
the comic book?
Yeah, yes.
The cartoon?
Maybe he means the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Or
the
whatever it's
upcoming
called.
show that's supposed to come out in like 4 years?
Yeah, I assume that's it. Sabra Delta and Adam Zimmerman.
I would like to thank Tracy, who needs to respond to the request for a duel. Amanda Douglas, Ross Hartley, Jack Mazel, Alex Dillard, Vanessa's Gold Taco Bell PS5, Jason Thames, Andy Best, Go Cry Wolf, Hexagon, Ricky Barty, Ally, CT and Big T are the rulers of Ron's by fantasy. I mean, I get that. Gunblading Sid, Florian Jonas Kramer, Andy M, Sean Gonzalez, Brian Pitt, Tom, Robert J. Defendi, Michael Crawford. I'm only doing this to vote for Kingdom Hearts 2. Chris Wilder, Joseph, Andrew Leinart, Sean Walsh, Vanessa's Renegade Cheese Plate, Samu Mitchell, Christian Go, Robert T, Hudson Roth, Hat Ben, the Ben with a Hat, OMG, what is this game? And I have no memory of this game.
I just was, casually checking in on Facebook while Matt was reading those names, and I saw a picture I'd posted of my own cat, and without thinking, I hearted it because I love my cat. So now I'm a person who likes their own pictures on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Send us an email. You know our email address. It's squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. If you absolutely cannot be bothered to send an email, please come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group for smart, cool, very attractive people, or tweet at us at Square Roots Pod. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, Ghana, or wherever you listen to podcasts. For Square Roots, I'm Johnny Brandon.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
And I'm Vanessa.
Is Jim okay?
My arm hurts.
Oh, my little upsy bupsy. Bye.
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 Bye. From a great bye. From a great bye. That's my Radiohead bye.